Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show that may have gotten something wrong yesterday, and I want to correct because a few of you messaged me, and I just want to get it out of the way now. So when I was talking about Twitch, I mentioned profits, when really what I should have said was revenue. They made $2.8 billion in revenue, which isn't necessarily a profit, right? They made a lot of money, but many people said, actually, we don't know if Twitch has ever turned a profit, which is good to know, but also doesn't change the point I was trying to make, which was that the management there is out of their minds, and it's very obvious there is just mismanagement across the board, and that's what I was trying to get across. My mistake. But today in the news, this past weekend, Diablo 4 players went to hell and back, and a lot of people had a lot of feedback on the game and what they expect to be done by the time it releases this summer. And Blizzard's response was simply, look, this is a beta, not an open demo. The word beta nowadays has been kind of misconstrued, where people start calling things beta that's actually a marketing beta. And it's just another term for demo, shared Rod Ferguson, Diablo's general manager. That's not our case at all. Our beta is actually us testing our technology, especially on the server side. And look, that makes sense to me because as someone who's been around long enough to remember the releases of Diablo 3 and Diablo Immortal, Diablo as a franchise has had some pretty rough releases over the last decade or so, and I guess they definitely want as much feedback as possible, and for good reason. They want fans to be happy. I respect that. But sometimes, just sometimes, don't put all the responsibility to playtest your game on the wider audience who will then later buy it. Like, that's why you hire people to do that. And you can't be upset when people give you feedback that's like, I hated this experience or whatever. According to Game Rant, queue times had peaked over 2 hours at one point in the first day of the beta, shrunk down to about 80-90 minutes, and at the time of writing this article, were often below 5 minutes. Other issues during the beta were that players were unable to join a party while in game. There were disconnection issues, rubber banding, being blocked when moving between areas, balance issues, and graphical errors. There's clearly still a lot to work on, and when you give all of that to a wider audience that isn't trained in Q&A and they don't know what to look for, and they're just kind of playing your game the way they would, even though most of the feedback I saw seemed pretty positive, you can expect them to run into some things. That's why you hire QA, and that's why Activision Blizzard treating QA so bad across the board is just so frustrating in this moment, because those are problems that when you hit people with the beta, sure, login times or rubber banding or dealing with server infrastructure, absolutely, but like graphical glitches and problems with the gameplay and whatever, that's what the QA is for. So why you treat QA like trash so much? It's just frustrating. In other news, EA is planning to sunset some games and delist them, including several Battlefield titles, but not Mirror's Edge, apparently. In a recent Battlefield blog post, EA stated starting April 28th, 2023, Battlefield 1943 and Battlefield Bad Company 1 and 2 will be removed from digital storefronts, and you will no longer be able to purchase them. This is in preparation for the retirement of the online services for these titles, which will happen on December 8th, 2023. And my heart goes out to any of the Battlefield fans out there who care about this. I know that for the historic record of gaming, this is a hit, but all of the uproar online was not about that. It was about the fact that apparently this originally included Mirror's Edge. But EA updated the announcement, and the Battlefield Twitter further clarified that the listing was an error. We currently have no plans to remove Mirror's Edge from digital storefronts. And that's pretty great, love that game, but really, at the end, once again, we come to this point where it's like, do you really own anything if it's digital? They can just remove it. What do you own? Which, again, sucks for the preservation of these games and for the future of people who want to play. Like, if you want to play Bad Company 1 and 2, I guess find the physical copy if you can. That's kind of where we're at now. Get as many physical copies as you can, even though companies are trying to push you away from it. And then because it just happened, and I gotta talk about it, Counter-Strike 2. According to this drop from the Counter-Strike Twitter account, CS2 is an overhaul to every system, every piece of content, and every part of the CS experience. In addition to the game's shiny new landing page, Valve also published several videos detailing changes ranging from tick rates to maps to all sorts of things on their YouTube channel. Big fan of them doing 3 tiers of maps, like the ones we know and love, and then some changes, and then some awesome new stuff. Also, the smoke. Can we talk about that weird smoke stuff? That's fascinating. Obviously, we're gonna see more, but as a person who played Counter-Strike in like 2001, this is wild to me, and I'm super excited. So for all of you who have been in the Counter-Strike world for years and years and years, let me know. Are you hyped for this? You're like, these are changes I don't want. I don't know. I don't know what the community's like. I would love to know your thoughts. Leave them down below. And that's it for me in this episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.